Hello, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. I'm so sorry I had to sort out some technical issues, and I'm glad that everything is okay and fine now, and I'm good to go. Good morning, everyone, once again. If you can see my screen and you can hear me clearly, kindly type in a hi in the comment section so that we can begin the new day on a good note. 359, the first hello this morning. Thank you very much. I'm grateful. How are you and how was your weekend? 54101, hello, hello. How are you doing? Glad to have you around. Trust you had a good weekend. 281309999, you're welcome on board. How are we? And how was your weekend? All right. Thank you for the confirmation, and I want to welcome you all to yet another beautiful session on X-Trend Speed Live with my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. I shall be taking you on a trading journey as we shall be diving through the chart to look out for patterns, structures, identification of trend line, and we shall be using these parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us during the New York session. And one thing that I want to also emphasize here, considering the fact that we are on the first day of the week, which is a Monday morning, we are always very, very mindful of how we take advantage of such opportunities, as we want to see how price has been playing out in the early hours of the week, after which we'll be using the structures we have identified to identify trading opportunities going forward. So what is going to be happening today? We're going to be looking at our major pairs, and we shall be taking random pairs where we shall be looking out for trading opportunities in the form of a buy or sell, and whatever happens during the following day, we shall be using that to guide our action throughout the week. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is happening here. 246, good morning, glad to have you around. 163, oh, you're welcome, glad to have you. Chixie, hello, how are you? Great, hope you all had a wonderful weekend. My weekend was beautiful. I had to take the family out for fun time, and it was really fun for me, and I hope you really had a fun-filled weekend as well. So let's dive into it and let's see what is happening. As usual, we want to be looking at the first pair we normally share in the morning, the US oil. What is our expectation here on the US oil? Let's quickly look at what is happening here. So we are right in the 1 hour time frame where we are looking out for trading opportunities that is lining up for us during the New York session. And one thing we observe here is that we have a key level which has been solid since throughout the last week's session at $97 area, and we have been using that key level to guide our action in the last 7 days. Now, what do we have here as we head into the New York session? The first thing first we have to observe and clarify is that we do have a significant breakout of the key level here. We have a breakout of the key level, a very strong one. Then we had a retest of structure, giving us a confirmation that we might be going bullish on this one. And after that, we saw what happened during the early hours of today as we saw price breakout of a level. You see price started at where the price started here at $98, went down a little bit into $95, $96 area before we saw the breakout of that structure. So what is going to be our perspective going forward? Well, we ought to understand that we have been on a long-term bearish momentum here on the US oil, and we have to be very mindful of any bullish trading opportunities lining up for us. We need further confirmation to take a buy momentum. Even though we have something that looks like a bullish perspective here, we really need to be very mindful, as we want to look for significant confirmation that will support that we are actually going bullish on this one. So the other parameter I want us to look at is this temporary bullish trend line that was holding price action in the past before it was broken. Let me give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. We saw our price came from this area during the course of last week's trading session, which we took advantage of, remember? And then we saw price reject the $97 area multiple times before we saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line, and price appeared to reject that bullish trend line multiple times. We saw the first one, we saw the second one here, and it appears price has broken out of that bullish trend line. But the breakout of that bullish trend line isn't that significant, so we have to be very mindful of jumping into any bullish rally at this point. So I want to extend this bullish trend line a little bit into the future, as we have two parameters now guiding our actions going forward. The first parameter is the $97 key level area, which has been broken, and then we have this bullish trend line that is on your screen, the black bullish trend line on your screen. Then we also have a downtrend line, which is identified as the red dotted line on your screen, which is also has been broken to the upside. So now with these three parameters, how do we intend taking advantage of a bullish momentum? So what we want to be looking out for here is a significant breakout of this bullish trend line. That is, we want to see price break out of this level significantly, a retest of the structure to give us that potential to the upside. And if we look left here, we can see that we have something that looks more like an inverse head and shoulder in the form of this. We have the left shoulder here, we have the head here, we have the right shoulder around this area, and then we expect a breakout of that structure, a retest of structure to join a potential rally to the upside. Now, we never can tell price is going to move in that direction. However, since we already saw a breakout of the key level, one thing I want to be looking out for any bullish potential here on the US oil is that we should be waiting for further confirmation, and that confirmation will come to us in the form of a retest of that key level at $97 area. It could go as far as $97 area, or probably come into doing a retest of that resistant level of the channel we identified during the course of last week's trading session, after we should be looking out for reversal patterns on lower time frame, or probably on this time frame as well. And it could be your double bottom structure, it could be your head and shoulder pattern, whatever that is, looking for a reversal pattern that should confirm that price is actually going bullish at this point. If price is finally confirmed here, where will our take profit target be? So one thing we want to be looking out for is our entry point right above that key level at $97 area, which might fall around this area after the confirmation have been done. So we should be having an entry point right above that $97 area for any bullish potential here, with a take profit target at least at around the $104, $105 area. And why are we choosing the $104, $105 area as our take profit target? I will show you that in a minute. Just give me a second, please. The reason why we are having the $104, $105 area as our take profit target is this. If we look left and look at what has been happening since the beginning of this month of July, we saw our price has been finding lower lows and lower highs. Look at this. We have this first low, the first lower high, and then we saw the second low, the second lower high, and then price went further down into this area. And if we connect the series of lower highs at this point, we have this bearish trend line here. And if we zoom into our present structure here, we can see that the bearish trend line shares a confluence with what might look like our take profit target at around this area. So what I want to be looking out for at this point is our take profit target at $104 between $104 and $105 area, which appears to be a supply zone in the past. So there is a possibility that price is going to respect this trend line. Then probably we could be seeing a reversal pattern in the form of a breakdown of that bullish trend line we identified earlier to push price to the downside from here. So that is why we want to be putting our take profit target there. And then if probably we now see a breakout of that trend line, then we should be seeing that as a signal that price is actually wants to be going up. And then we will be looking for a retest of structure, which will also share a confluence with that bullish trend line we identified earlier. And also if you look left, you can see that this area has once in the past been a demand area to reckon with. So if we see a retest of that structure, then we could be joining a continual trend to the upside in the aim of retesting the bullish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame. So if you ask me what bullish trend line did we identify on the daily time frame, let's go to daily time frame. Let's see what I'm talking about. We have a bullish trend line here that has been respected since the beginning of the year, and one thing we want to be looking out for is the possibility that price is very likely to come back to do a retest of that bullish trend line, which I showed you on the 1 hour time frame, after which a retest of that structure could push price to the downside. We never can tell for now, but we want to follow price action step by step. And if we see a breakout above of that level, then we could be looking for opportunities that we want to take advantage of. But at this moment, the first scenario we are looking out for is that bullish potential, which I just explained to you here on the 1 hour time frame. That's the first scenario we want to be looking out for. Then we have our stop loss right below the previous structure. We could have it right below the key level. Very important. That is after the reversal pattern has been formed. Then we want to be looking right below the key level here, which dovetails around a 150 pips move against a 740 pips take profit target. Hold on a second. Is that 750? I'm not sure that is. Hold on a second. We have 150 again. Okay, 740 pips target for this one. So mind you, what we're expecting here on the US oil is a further confirmation that we're actually going bullish, and the confirmation will only come in the form of a retest of structure, and our structure is around this area. So we have our entry point right around this area. If price comes back here, do a reversal pattern, then we could be taking advantage of that move to the upside from there. Now, the other scenario we might be looking out for is a possible bearish momentum here on the 1 hour time frame. What do I mean by that? Let's look at this closely. Remember, we have this bullish trend line that we identified earlier, where we said price broke down during the course of last week's trading session, which we took advantage of, and then we took advantage of this bullish momentum as well. We saw a retest of this bullish trend line. Price came back down, does a retest again one more time, and price came back down again, and it appears it might be doing a retest of that area once again. Even though we expect that a retest could send price to the downside from here, I am of the opinion that we really need to see a significant momentum to actually join that decline, and that momentum should come in the form of an engulfing candle breaking and slicing through the key level at $97 area, and also slicing through this bearish trend line, the dotted red line on your screen, after which we found a signal. And remember, we don't normally get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price to do a retest of structure for us to join the potential momentum. And how do we get the confirmation? The confirmation will definitely come in form of probably a retest of the key level at $97 area, where we'll be looking out for patterns on lower time frame to support a trend continuation to the downside, where a further breakdown of this trend line, a retest of that trend line, will welcome us adding more position to our trade as we see price come down into this area. So that's the scenario we're looking out for. And the other scenario for the bearish momentum is the possibility that if price breaks through that area, price will come back to do a retest of this bullish trend line here, after which a reversal pattern from this area could push price to the downside from here. So what I want to be looking out for is a significant breakdown of that key level at $97 area to be very, very confident that we are actually going bearish. So a breakdown of that key level, breakdown of that resistant level of the descending channel we identified during the course of last week's trading session. Then we look for a retest of structure to join the decline. Now, we're talking about bearish momentum here. There is another parameter that will guide our actions to make job easier for us during the New York session. And that is, if we look at the structure here, we can see that price appears to be finding higher lows at this point. We can see the first higher low, then we saw the second higher low here. Can we just connect the series of higher lows together to find a temporary bullish trend line, which shall also be our guide going forward? So bringing out our line chart at this point, running the trend line through that bullish trend line here. I want to make this one a green color to differentiate it from the bullish trend line we identified earlier. So one thing we want to be looking out for at this point is if price significantly break down that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with the key level. Sincerely, I want to see a breakdown of that resistant level too as well to give me a further confirmation in the form of a retest of that structure. Then we could join the decline at least to the previous demand zone here. And what do I mean by that? If we look left, we can see that this area has one point in time being a structure for demand pressure. So let's label this area. Label this area potential demand zone. So we can label this area a potential demand zone for reference purposes. So place this right in the middle of the box here. So we have something like this. So we will be looking forward to a selling momentum after we see confirmations right below the key level with stop loss right above key level here with the take profit target within the demand zone here, which dovetails to at least a minimum of 550 pips to catch here on the US oil. So these are my scenarios here on the US oil. And one thing someone is asking me here is this, that what if price continue to the upside from here and price never tries to come down to this area? Well, one thing you want to be doing if price never tries to come back down into the key level is that we want to be patient enough to see this move right up into probably the 102 level. Then we see a retest of that bullish trend line with patterns on lower time frame that support a trend continuation to the upside. So this is what we are going to be looking out for if price doesn't come down to the key level we identify at $97 area. So I hope my explanation so far has been very, very clear and precise. But if you think you still need further clarifications in that regard, just feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and I shall be taking some moment off right now to look at what is happening in the comment section. Like 10 to 15 seconds will do for now. I'll be looking at the comment section. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section and I will be willing to be of help. I hope I'm clear on that. Hello, hi Max, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. Cadron, good to have you around. Winning King, hi, how are you? Andres Hal Ali, hello, good day to you. John Wick, can someone, okay, all right. I hope someone does that. We are good here. Scott Benji, welcome, welcome on board. All right. 163. Okay. All right, all right. So let's move on to the next pair. Since there is an absence of no question, that means my explanation has been very, very clear so far. So BTC was the fate. IMS is asking. Okay, well, I will I'll pen that down and let's see how we can squeeze that into our schedule for today. So let's have BTC pen down while we look at that. So this is going to be a follow-up of on the BTC USD I did I think last week, I guess. Hey Scott Benji, glad to have you. Good morning. So let's move on to the next pair here, and that is the UK oil rather. So what's happening on the UK oil? Definitely, we always have a similar scenario with that which we have on the US oil, and UK oil is almost a replica of what we normally witness on the US oil. Like we shared last week, we had a channel running on the UK oil, which has been respected since the beginning of the month of July. We saw price run through this channel in the last couple of weeks. We saw this move. We saw how price has been respecting that channel. Not until the early hours of today we saw a breakout of that trend line, and price appears to be rejecting the $104 key level area, which I'm of the opinion, I think it was our selling opportunity zone last week where we were expecting a selling momentum to happen from. And if that is going to be the case, then we need to be very, very patient to see if the selling momentum will actually happen. And how did we get the selling opportunity zone? The selling opportunity zone was gotten after we identified the between the golden zone area, which is the 50 and the 78.6% area of the previous impulse leg. So we have the previous impulse leg like this. We have it starting from here into this area where we took our take profit target for selling momentum last week, and then we will run our Fibonacci retracement so right through that impulse leg, only to identify the between the 50 and the 78.6 area, which has been identified here. So one thing we want to be looking out for within the selling opportunity zone area is, hold on a second, let's delete this as I'm not sure this is relevant anymore. Okay, still relevant, $100 area. So we have price around this area. So what we want to be looking out for within the selling opportunity zone is a reversal pattern. And that could come in form of a double top structure. It could come in form of a double top structure like this. We see a breakout of that structure to join the decline to the downside, or it could come in form of an inverse head and shoulder, something like this, to join the decline. However, remember that if we have a reversal pattern within this zone, we want to be looking out for the breakout of that pattern. Remember, a pattern is not complete until the reversal pattern is not complete until we witness the breakdown of that reversal pattern. So we want to see a breakdown and retest of structure before we join the decline to the downside. So if that is going to be happening here, that is, if we see the breakdown of that neckline, then if we see a breakdown, further breakdown of the key level at $100 level, a retest of that level, we want to be adding more position to this trade. So one thing I want to be advising us to do here is to remain patient here. Let's see how price is going to play out at this point. And if we see price coming down, that's the first scenario on the bearish momentum. We expect price to do a reversal pattern in this area to send price crashing to the downside, which I've illustrated with this arrow here, with the take profit target, at least the first take profit target within the retest of this resistant level of the descending channel here. Now, the other scenario we could be looking out for is probably if price comes back down to do a retest of this resistant level, which is also the key level of the 100, which is also the key, which also shares a confluence with the $100 key. So if price comes down into this to retest this resistant level, which also shares a confluence with the $100 mark, we want to be looking out for a reversal pattern from this area to join a potential rally to the upside from this area. So please, we don't need to get things mixed up here. The first scenario we are looking out for is a selling momentum, which will only happen if we see a reversal pattern. Let me delete this and re-explain myself at this point because it's looking a little bit ambiguous. Now, like I was explaining earlier, I said if we see a reversal pattern within this area, we want to take advantage of a breakdown retest of that pattern to join the decline to the downside. Mind you, because of the breakout of this resistant level here we identified during the early hours of today, we want to be very, very mindful of this bearish potential. As price continues to move in our favor, we want to be moving our stop loss accordingly so that we can guide our position against any potential hike in price action. So what this simply means that if price continues to come to this area, then we continue to move our stop loss accordingly. But if at this point we see a reversal pattern at the retest of this $100 mark, or probably this resistant level of the descending channel we identified during the course of last week trading session, then we see a rejection of that area, a double bottom structure, or an inverse head and shoulder, or whatever reversal pattern forms around this area, then we want to be closing out our selling opportunity, selling position to join the bullish potential, after which we see a breakout of structure, a retest of structure on lower time frame, then we can join the rally to the upside. So we have two scenarios here we want to be looking out for on the UK oil, and we really need to be very, very, very mindful of how we take advantage of this move. So let's see what is going to happen within the selling opportunity zone during the New York session. If we see a reversal pattern, we want to take advantage of the opportunity at the breakdown retest of structure, and as well we want to continue to guide our position as price continue to move in our direction to the downside. However, if price comes above that key level at $100 mark or the resistant level here, then we see a reversal pattern around this area. This is going to give us a signal that we are going bullish on this one. So our bullish scenario will begin right above this key level at $100 mark here. And where will our take profit target be? If we look at at the previous impulse leg here, if that impulse leg ends here, we don't know when it's going to end, then we want to be using our Fibonacci extension tool to extend and project this into the future with a aim at a 127.2% of the previous impulse leg, which falls at around between $107 area and the $109 area, which will dovetail to at least a minimum of 800 pips to catch here on the UK oil. And that is for the selling momentum. We have our stop loss right below the previous structure here, which dovetails to about 140 pips, and let's see how price plays out. So for the selling momentum, we want to be looking for selling opportunities at the sites of a reversal pattern here, with the stop loss right above the key level around this area. So we don't know where the reversal pattern is going to form. This is subject to how the pattern evolves at this point. So tomorrow will make our job a little bit easier, as to by tomorrow we should be able to see structure forming in our favor. So our first take profit target for this selling opportunity falls right around the $100 area and the retest of this resistant level of the descending channel we identified earlier. And if price breaks below that area, that is, if we see a breakdown of this area, then we want to be adding more position to this trade in that regard. But before that, before that happens, let's see what happens in the meantime, and this is what my expectations are going forward. If you need further clarifications, feel free to drop in the comment section. I shall be taking 10 to 15 seconds off to read what is happening in the comment section and to see if I can be of help in that regard. So in the absence of no questions, I guess we just have to move on to the next pair. So the next pair I'm going to be looking out for, we're going to be choosing random pairs, but actually I have a couple of pairs on the, especially the major pairs we want to be looking out for. Then the first one I want to be looking out for is the GBPUSD. On the GBPUSD, I'm already expecting a bullish momentum here on the GBPUSD. And I'm going to be explaining the reason why I'm having that bias in a moment. Let's hold on and see what's happening here. If we look at the higher time frame here, hold on a second. If we look at the higher time frame here, it is very, very, very obvious that price action has been on a downtrend drive. Look at the structure we have here. Now, we saw this bearish potential in the beginning of June, the month of June. We saw price moved into this demand zone here. It got rejected, price pushed up. Then we saw rejection of this bearish trend line. Then price came back into the demand zone on the 1st of July, the early days of this month. Price came back to do a rejection of a new bearish trend line, which I was identified with that red line you can see on your screen, before we saw the final breakdown of that demand zone, where price action appears not to be respecting that demand zone anymore, as we saw a double retest of that bearish trend line to push price further to the downside from here. But during the early hours of the day, what did we see? We saw a breakout of that trend line, giving us a signal that we might be heading for a reversal pattern very, very soon. Now, is this reversal pattern really going to hold? Well, if we look at the structure we have here, we have this bearish trend line here. There is a possibility that price could come back to do a retest of either this bearish trend line to push price to the downside from here, or probably go as far as testing this major bearish trend line before we see that bearish move to the downside. So we really need to prepare ourselves in this regard. So what did I do here? So let's scale down to a much lower time frame than the 1 hour time frame here, where I was able to identify a key level to make our job easier during the New York session. And why is this key level located at 1.19200 area? Very simple. If we look at the past, this level has been a major demand zone in the past. We can see it has been a major demand zone here. We saw it was a demand zone around this area before we saw the breakdown of structure, after which we had price come back to do a retest of structure to make this area a one more supply zone one more time. Sorry for the break in transmission. So we saw the resistance level, we saw it as a supply zone around this point, and finally we saw the breakout of that area here. That makes it very, very interesting. The level that has been a major supply zone and a demand zone has finally been broken out. So what do we want to be looking out for further confirmation on this one? We want to see price come back to do a retest of the key level, or probably come as far as retesting that bearish trend line, after which we look out for structures that will support a trend continuation to the upside, with the aim of at least this trend line as our first take profit target area. So now, how do we do this at this point? That is our view on this one. So one thing we want to be looking out for at this point is to be patient enough to wait for price to come back down into our key level area to take advantage of that bullish potential. So is either it comes down to this area, then we see a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure, it might be, and then a breakout of structure, retest of structure, pushing price into this area. So one thing we want to be looking out for is a confirmation, after which we can enter, right above that key level at 1.19200 area, with a take profit target sitting at around, I think 1.2110 area is most appropriate at this point, which dovetails to, I think, around 180 pips to catch here, with a stop loss right below the previous structure at right below the key level, dovetailing to around 45-50 pips move to catch here. So this is the scenario we're looking out for the GBPUSD. I'm expecting a bullish momentum here, and we already have a signal in the form of a breakout of that bearish trend line, after which a retest of that structure should give us that confirmation we are looking out for. So it's just the beginning of the week. We don't need to be in a hurry. Let's wait and see how price action is going to play out going forward. Now, the other scenario that we might be looking out for, which I'm not sure is going to happen in the next 24 hours, but we never can tell, is that there is a possibility that price could come back down to break down that bearish trend line. And if that happens, that means we might be shifting from that bullish potential we are looking out for as a retest of either the trend line, or probably come back to that key level might insinuate a trend continuation to the downside. But before that happens, I'm going to be here with you tomorrow to see if price is going to move in that direction anyway. But at the moment, I'm looking forward to a bullish potential where a breakdown, a retest of structure should give us a further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So this is my view on the GBPUSD. Do you have any questions whatsoever? If you do, feel free to drop in the comment section. Feel free to drop in the comment section. I shall be taking the next 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 15 seconds to view what's happening in the comment section. Well, my YouTube name is Sharif Daramola. 201 is asking. Okay. All right. So that's that on the GBPUSD. So let's move on to the next pair we want to be sharing today. I want to be sharing something on the EURUSD, which also another major pair we want to be looking at today. And I already have a position running on the EURUSD already. And one thing we are seeing here is that we saw a breakout of a neckline structure. And how did we come to that? If we look into the structure, what structure has been giving us in the last 2 weeks, what did we see here? Let's zoom in and let's see clearly what's happening at this point. So what we saw here is that we saw a major breakdown of that demand zone during the early days of this month. We saw a significant breakdown of that demand zone here. And as soon as price was going down, price came into 0.99700 area. And since then, we've been seeing multiple rejection of this level in the last 1 week before we finally saw the breakout of that trend line. Now that we have a breakdown of that breakout of that trend line, and we have a reversal pattern around this area, we have a reversal pattern here. Hold on a second, let me give you. So we have a reversal pattern here. One thing we want to be looking out for the reversal pattern to be confirmed is a breakout of that structure, which I think has finally happened. I took that advantage right above that key level anyways, just to test waters and see how price action is going to play out. But one thing I would be advising you to do at this point is to be patient enough to wait for price to come back to do a retest of the neckline of that reversal pattern, which is also the key level that will be serving us this week. So we have a key level sitting at 1.0100 area, which is also going to be my neckline of the reversal pattern. I want to see price come into this area, do a reversal pattern here on lower time frame before I see a rally to the upside. Another possibility here is the possibility of price coming back to do a retest of this resistance level here, which also I've also identified a level at 1.00200 level where price could come to do a retest of either this resistant the bearish trend line here. We look out for a reversal pattern here, then we could join the rally from a breakout of structure, after which we could add more position at a breakout retest of the key level here. So let me scale down to the 1 hour time frame where we shall be expecting price to come back down into the key level here. So I have a take profit target at 1.02100 area, which is around 100 pips for now. And if we now finally see a breakout of the supply zone that was here, we can see that this area has been a supply zone in the past. Give me a moment. You can see that's why I've placed my first take profit target around this area, which is around 100 pips. So I want to see a breakout of that supply zone, then probably a retest of structure to add more position to my existing trade. So this is my scenario here on the EURUSD. I hope this is very clear, very clear to understand. So if we have a retest of that key level at 1.0100 area, then we want to be looking forward to joining that rally to the upside at the site of a reversal pattern from this area. So for the selling momentum at this point, let's see how price plays out in the next 24 hours. So I don't want to be sharing that selling momentum at this point because of the potential of a bullish momentum here. And if that happens tomorrow, I'm not sure if that's going to happen today, but if it does happen, let me just share it with you. If we see a breakdown of this 1.0200 area and then we see a retest of that level, then we might be looking forward to a bearish momentum from here, but I doubt if that is going to happen in the next 24 hours. So let's see how price plays out from this point. And remember, we have key parameters, we have key events that is very likely to push price action for the euro this week, and that's on Wednesday and Thursday, I guess. We have hold on a second, let me bring that out. We have which data here. We have I want to see hold on a second. Okay, so we have the interest rate decision coming up on Thursday, and then we have the ECB bank lending survey which happened earlier today. No, it's going to happen tomorrow. And we also have ECB press conference happening on Thursday as well. And then on Friday we're having the S&P Global Composite PM, which is also a very key event that could be a catalyst for price action for the euro this week. So let's see how price plays out anyway. Like I said, we're expecting price to do a retest of this key level so that we can join a potential rally at the site of a reversal pattern from here. So patience is very required at this point, and let's see how price action plays out. So let's take one more pair before we go. And someone was requesting for the Bitcoin. I'm not sure if you're still around. What's the name of this person? We have who was that asking for Bitcoin? Okay, IMAX. I don't know if IMAX is still around. Let's look at Bitcoin quickly, and that might be our last pair for today. Bitcoin. I shared something on Bitcoin last week as well, so this is going to be a follow-up detail of that scenario we shared here on the Bitcoin last week. So last week we said the Bitcoin is respecting the we had the bullish trend line identified on the daily time frame here, We saw this bullish trend line identified on the daily time frame. As we can see, since the month of June, price has been respecting that bullish trend line, and there is a potential that price could be going to the upside from here. So one thing we did last week was to identify an area around this area after citing this reversal pattern here. Hold on a second, let me draw it out for you. We cited this reversal pattern here last week, and we said we're going to be taking a breakout retest of the structure. Sorry, a breakout retest. Oh my, what's happening to? So we said we are going to be taking a breakout retest of this trend line to take advantage of this move. So whosoever has taken advantage of this move, kudos to you. We were having our take profit target here for the buying opportunity, and price came to do a retest of this area to push price to the upside from here. So going into the New York session today, how do we intend taking advantage of a trend continuation? Is price going to continue to the upside from here, or are we going to be having a bearish bias here? So well, we have a key level here at $21,000 area, which was identified a couple of weeks ago. So I'm of the opinion that it's very likely that price might come back into this area and do a retest of this area to push price further up. And the reason why I said it's going to come back into that area, if we look left, we can see that this area at $22,500 area has been a resistance point before. That means a supply zone, and this is the first rejection of this is the first touch of that level since the touch during the early days of this week. So there is a possibility that quick sells could happen. People that took advantage of this move might want to sell their position so that they can make some quick profits, after which they'll be looking for further opportunities to take advantage of whatever momentum is coming forth. So one thing I'm looking out for here, there is a possibility that price could come down to do a retest of this area, and if it comes down into the $21,000 mark, we want to be looking for a reversal pattern here to give us further confirmation that price is going up from here. And where will our take profit target be? Let's go up to the daily time frame, and one thing we want to note, we noticed here, is that we have an impulsive move that began in the month of June. We saw that impulsive move that began in the month of June here. So we expect from a technical perspective that price is likely going to come back to do a retracement into our golden zone area before we see probably a potential move to the downside from there. So where is our golden zone area, which is going to be our take profit target at this point? So if we bring out our Fibonacci retracement tool and run it through the previous impulse leg at this point, we should be aiming at between the 50 and the 78.6 area as our take profit target. In fact, this is a very long-term perspective, as we have huge profit to catch from this point in the market. So let me label this TP targets. I want to do this. I want to just copy this one and paste it right inside here. TP target, we have Y here inside. Let me place this in. So we have a TP target for buying opportunity right between the 25,000 mark and the 28,500 or the 29,000 mark, which will dovetail to how many pips that is? Over 4,100 pips to catch here. So like I said, we are waiting for price to come back to do a retest of the key level at 21,000 mark. If we see a reversal pattern at this area, then we want to join a rally to the upside. And there is a possibility that price could come as far as retesting this bullish trend line to send price going to the upside from here. So anyway that is, we want to be patient enough to take advantage of that move. However, if you are comfortable with taking a counter trend opportunity, then since we have a supply zone here, price has rejected this place. We hope price reject this place the second time. If that happens, and that will only happen if we see a reversal pattern here on lower time frame, that is, we could see a double top structure or a head and shoulder pattern, or it could be a rising wedge, then we want to take advantage of a breakout of that structure to this downside. So if you are taking a counter trend opportunity, you could be looking at around 1,000 pips to catch here with a take profit target at a $21,000 mark. So this is my scenario here on the Bitcoin, and I think I will have to call it a day at this point. We were able to take how many pairs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs today, and let's see how price action is going to play out. So let's quickly take a quick recap of what we talked about so far. So the first pair we shared today was the US oil, where we're expecting two perspectives here, and I explained how we are to take advantage of this move. The first perspective is a bullish momentum. Hold on a second, let's delete this so that we can okay. The first perspective here is the bullish momentum, and I said the only way I want to be taking a bullish opportunity here is not until we see a retest of this key level, either the bullish trend line here, the key level here, or the resistance level of this descending channel. And you can see these parameters here share the same confluence. We have the bullish trend line here, we have the resistance level of the bearish descending channel here, and then we have our key level at $97 area, which is more or less an area that looks more promising to take advantage of any bullish momentum from this point. So if we are taking a bullish position from here, we are looking at a take profit target within the $104 and the $106 area, which would dovetail to at least a minimum of 400 pips to catch here. However, for selling opportunities here, I said we want to wait for a breakdown of that key level, which also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line, to see a breakdown of that key level and bullish trend line, a retest of structure, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside, with a take profit target sitting within the demand zone at the meantime. Then we moved on to the UK oil, where we explained we also have the same similar scenario here on the UK oil. We told you last week, we had the selling opportunity zone identified, and we're expecting price to do a reversal pattern within this area to push price to the downside from here. So we should be having a selling entry right below the key level at the site of a reversal pattern, with a take profit target, at least for the meantime, at the resistance level of the descending channel here. And I also told you, I put a caveat here, that we should be mindful as price action. If we take a selling opportunity here, as price action moves in our favor, we want to be mindful of how we move our stop loss accordingly, as we don't want to be caught in a sudden spike. As we can see, we witnessed a breakout of that channel during the early hours of this week, and we don't want to be caught up in any surprises. Then the other scenario we're looking out for is to be patient, to wait for price to come back to do a retest of this resistance level, where we look out for a reversal pattern around the $100 mark area to join a bullish potential, with a take profit target sitting within the $107 area and the $109 mark, which will dovetail to at least a minimum of 800 pips to catch here. So if we are seeing a bullish potential, we want to see a rejection of this descending channel, reversal pattern around the key level at $100 mark, and right above that key level we want to enter a bullish position on this one. So that's the scenario we're looking out for on the UK oil. Then we moved on to share a position here on the GBPUSD, where I'm expecting price to come back to do a retest of either the key level or the resistance level of the trend line that was broken during the early hours of this week, after which we see a reversal pattern that would push price to the upside. So to be on the safer side, it's most appropriate that we enter this trade right above the key level at 1.19200, with a take profit target around the resistance level that was identified during the course of last week's trading session, which will dovetail to at least a minimum of 180 pips to catch here on the GBPUSD. Then we moved on to talk about the EURUSD, which is also a major pair, and I told you I'm already in this trade. with a position running already. However, I made mention of how patient we should be, that there is a possibility that price could still come back to do a retest of the key level at 1.0100 area, after we should look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So for the meantime, we don't want to be too ambitious. We have a take profit target sitting at 1.02100 area, and if we see a breakout of that level, then we want to be taking advantage of a bullish momentum at a retest of that structure in the future. Then we went on to share something on the Bitcoin. On the Bitcoin, we have we've been enjoying a bullish potential, which was speculated last week, and I told you to hold on to see to wait for a retest of the 21,000 mark area. I want to see price come back into this area before we join the bullish potential to the upside. However, I gave an opportunity for counter trend traders or scalpers. You could take advantage of a momentum right below this area if we sight a reversal pattern within this area. So if you're taking advantage of that move from that area, we have a take profit target within our buying opportunity zone at $21,000 mark, which will dovetail to a minimum of 1,000 pips to catch here. So these are my scenarios so far on this one. I thank you very much for being around with me, but one advice I want to give you here is this: every Monday is always boring. Every Monday morning is always very boring, and one thing we want to be looking out for on Monday morning is for potential opportunities. We want to be patient to see how price action plays out. We want to look out for signals, and remember, we don't get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to look out for further confirmation before we join the potential momentum that is unfolding before our eyes. So on this note, I really thank you guys for being around with me. Let's look forward to be here tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. West African time, so that we can look at what has been happening so far in the last 24 hours and use that opportunity to decide what is going to be happening going forward. So on this note, I wish you a wonderful day. Bye bye.